collar, white collar, black professors, white scholars, politicians, Dalai Lamas. Everybody in the whole wide world need hope if I be honest. I'm in that number.
Trump pushes hard the tariff policies, and I ain't mad at him. I'm going to read an article from the New York Times, and it basically said the European Union pledged to fight back on Trump's tariffs as a trade war looms. We just had Gary Coleman leave the administration because of his fight with Trump on tariffs. How the heck are you going to deal with these companies that keep going overseas but want to charge cheap labor, want to get cheap labor for workers over there but charge us a bunch of money? You think that's fair? Like I said, I'm not a fan of Trump, but whenever I see something that I think is going to help lift Americans up, I'm going to look at it, and if I need to support it, I'm going to support it. Who are you? I don't care nothing about what you think. You know, you deal with you. If you don't want to support, that's fine. You shouldn't be care about, I'm not going to lose no sleep because you're against it. So why are you losing sleep because I might be for it? Let me read this thing. In Brussels, European Union officials unveiled an array of tariffs on Wednesday that they would place on American-made goods if the United States followed through on President Trump's plan to impose penalties on imported steel and aluminum, raising the specters of trade war. So I'm going to start right there. First of all, we need to be making this stuff in America. President Obama promised that he's going to build something where it said made in America. I don't care if he handed it over to the Republicans and let them develop this policy themselves. As long as it was putting Americans back to work and paying them a good pay with the union involved. I want to say that. Because Obama turned his back on the teachers union and things like that. The whole Democratic Party has. They've moved from the working people and start kissing the butt of the corporations instead of doing whatever they can to cater to the people that works in corporations. Totally missing their purpose of being in politics. And here it is, Donald Trump is trying to impose taxes. Sure, it's going to be a trade war. Sure, these are other countries like China and Europe is going to try to put taxes on their stuff if it's coming to America. The bottom line is, I don't buy Chinese phones. Most of them don't pick up in our network pretty good. So I don't buy them. So if, according to this, Europe, the European Union officials unveiled an array of tariffs on Wednesday that they would place on American-made goods if the United States followed through on President Trump's plan to impose penalty on imported steel and aluminum, raising the specters of a trade war. We got to come to this. I know it's tough to say it, but we got to start telling the companies, and it's mainly, I mean, I don't know how to say it. The main thing is about our companies going overseas, getting cheaper labor, but want to charge us a lot of money. For us, Europe and them trying to sell products to us, that's different. From what I begin to look at was the Trump plan was dealing with our companies that have left the United States and decided to go get cheaper labor in China, Taiwan, Indonesia, you name it. Yet they want to charge us some serious money for the products coming in. In that case, Trump need to pose penalties on those people. An American-made company that is now based in China wants to charge us more money because they are in China, yet they're paying the Chinese people low wages. Like companies like Apple. I got Apple in my throat. Got an apple in my throat. Companies like I got an apple in my throat. Them. Cheap labor, but want to charge us an arm and a leg for iPhone when they make it for probably less than $100, but want to charge you $1,000 and only paid them probably $1 an hour to make it. Some of them living on the compound, working overnight to get the extra money. Those are the type of people I am for Trump to pose taxes on. You're going to leave us, take your workforce, kill the middle class, leave the Rust Belt, and say, that's the stuff right there that feeds Trump base. Because it looked like Trump is hitting them hard. Those companies that left us high and dry, Trump is going to punish them with tariffs. That'll teach them. That'll teach them, especially when most of the money that they're making is coming from the United States. I dare you to be an American company, decide to cut the legs off of the middle class and go somewhere else to get cheaper labor, but then you want to sell the stuff back to us. Shame on you. And Trump need to pose penalties on you, need to pose tariffs on you. I'm all for that. I'm not for fighting China and things like that, I mean, that's going to cause a problem. But dealing with American companies. Now, when it comes to things like industries where we supposed to be ruling and reigning, like in steel and aluminum, we were ruling that. Back in the days of Andrew Carnegie and the steel factories in Pennsylvania and things like that, we were dominating the steel industry. Our workers were making good money. They had a union. It was one man working at a steel factory making good money that had a nice nice house, nice car, put his kids through high school, put his kids through college. Wife didn't have to work at all. We lost that when we started changing our trade laws and allowing our companies to go to overseas getting cheaper labor. Yeah, they want to charge us more money over here. Now, in this case, fool your European Union if you want to pose tax on steel and aluminum. That's when our steel companies need to step up to the plate and we start pushing American-made products made in the United States, products in America, and boost that up. Make that a mission, make that a mandate that we're going to put people to work because we're going to allow products to be made in the United States. And we're going to get them all the benefits in the world. Yet they're going to have to pay our workers a living wage with increase based on inflation. We got to provide them. We're going to allow them the open air to develop a union. But we're going to do this together. The working class, the unions, and the companies working together to build America back up. I am for that. If that is what Trump is talking about, making America great again, I'm all for that. I'm all for that. So I don't know what to deal with the economic secretary of Donald Trump and what problem he had. I'll find out later on as I dig into this. Brussels and the European Union talking about they're going to pose taxes on us. Fine. We need to start buying from our own steel plant anyway. Let's go back to building our own. Let's go back to building our own. If they want to do something like that, we should be buying American made first. Let me keep reading. The announcement in Brussels was the latest rebuke to Mr. Trump's proposed tariff, which have met with consternation domestically and with threats of retaliation abroad. The president's top economic advisor, Gary D. Cohn, said on Tuesday that he was resigning, a move widely believed to be linked to the trade plan, which he had lobbied against. Republican leaders, including Paul Ryan, the House Speaker, have also railed against the tariff. I guess so, because you got your money in the pockets of these corporations, a lot of them overseas. Internationally, the plan for the new American tariff blanket penalties of 25% on imported steel and 10% on aluminum have drawn concern from allies, including Britain and Canada, as well as from rivals like China. The European Union had warned of retaliatory charges last week and outlined those plans on Wednesday. Such a move by the United States would put thousands of European jobs in jeopardy. All right, I don't want to put thousands of European jobs in jeopardy, but what about the jobs in the United States? We've allowed these trade laws to have them to make it so easy to go overseas and get cheaper labor and make the same products, same high quality products, charge more money, but making a killing in savings on low rate wages. But they want to raise the tariffs up. They want to overcharge. And we're supposed to be concerned about Europe. Yeah, we're concerned about Europe, but I'm more concerned about American job force above all. People are struggling out here. And we need to be focusing on our own steel industry, our own aluminum industry. And the companies need to add up, step up to the plate, offer the worker a good wage. Let's go to work. Let's make American-made products and do the thing. Don't be scared of no freaking trade war, long as it's competitive. Allies from including Britain and Canada, as well as from rivals like China, or Trump say China. The European Union had warned over retaliatory charges last week and outlined those plans on Wednesday. Such a move by the United States will put thousands of European jobs in jeopardy, and it has to be met with a firm and proportionate response. Cecile Malmstrom, the European Union Commissioner for Trade, said at a news conference in Brussels. European officials have been meeting with their counterparts in Washington, lobbyists, urging them to revisit the plan, she added. They're lobbyists trying to lobby to push Trump to not do this. Why? Because we want these jobs to stay here. We want American-made money. Blase, blase, blase. If the Americans' tariffs are put in place, Mrs. Malmstrom said, Brussels would take 3 steps. It would take the case to the World Trade Organization, add safeguards to protect the European Union against steel diverted from the United States, and impose tariffs on a series of American-made goods. So they want to go tit for tat. A provisional list of items being targeted ranged from steel to T-shirts, also included bed linen, chewing tobacco, cranberries, orange juice, among other products. The overall size of the business effectively is relatively small, worth about 2.8 billion in euros or 3.5 billion in import, paling in comparison with nearly 250 billion of goods and pounds and good in 28 nation block, and the 28 nation block bought from the United States in 2016. European leaders were quick to stress that they did not want to trigger a wider trade dispute, with Donald Tusk, the president of the European Council, saying in a tweet that trade wars were bad and easy to lose, in reference to an earlier tweet by Mr. Trump in which he claimed they were good and easy to win. Well, bottom line, I mean, we make T-shirts, we make bed linen, we make chewing tobacco, we make cranberry, we make orange juice and other products. I have no problem with that. But again, my problem is if you're going to think you're going to be in America, you're going to be founded in America and decide to uproot yourself and go to another country just to get cheaper labor, yet you're going to get most of your sales from the United States. No, you don't need to be doing that. He's doing right. He's doing right. And for those who push NAFTA and CAFTA and all that kind of stuff, this is on you. We should be making our own products. And we should be the first consumers of our own product. And then let us compete and decide to go somewhere else. But we shouldn't be a company not offering any products. Right now, steel industry is not all that hot. Anyway, let me keep going. But it reflects concerns in Europe over the possible impact of new American tariffs, notably on steel. The United States is the world's largest importer of steel. See, we've been buying steel from them a long time. Well, it's time for us to go back and making our own steel. Why are we buying steel from them? Because we've been trying to get it cheaper. At the same time, it's killing our workforce because we allowed them to take the jobs over there, and we're buying it cheaper because they're offering cheaper labor. And they're getting all those savings, putting the savings on us for that. But Trump is saying, no, we want you to bring those jobs back over here. The United States is the world's largest importer of steel. And while many of Mr. Trump's arguments have focused on cheap steel from countries like China and the European Union as a whole, and the single biggest exporter of steel to the United States, at the same time, the region is concerned that cheap steel that had been destined for the United States could now flood the continent, putting significant pressure on European producers. While retaliation from Brussels appears limited for now, it could have an impact on American domestic politics. Bourbon, one of the products that European officials have targeted, is made in Kentucky, the home state of Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader. Other items could face tariffs are motorcycles, and the corporate headquarters of Harley-Davidson's are in Wisconsin, Mr. Ryan State. The European Union have rights too to retaliate, said Peter Chase. Yeah, you got rights to retaliate. But we got plenty of Americans drink bourbon too. We got plenty of Americans that buy motorcycles. All right, the European Union has rights to retaliate, said Peter Chase, a former American diplomat who is now a senior fellow of the German Marshall Fund in Brussels, focusing on trade. The EU is concerned that behind it all, there are people in the U.S. administration that don't care that there might be damage to the international system of rule of law that we have created. The problem is, let me be quiet. The list, which was leaked on Monday, has been referred to by the European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker, is subject to the agreement of the Bloc 28 member state. It highlights how sharply the outlook on trade between the United States and Europe has shifted since 2013. Washington and Brussels have been negotiating a vast trade deal known as the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership. I guess that's called the TTP. Nobody wants the TPP. By late 2016, however, those talks appear to have reached a stalemate, and Mr. Trump's withdrawal from the similar pact with Pacific Rim countries early in his presidency signaled the death of the European agreement as well. And I'm glad he did that. The strong negative reaction to Mr. Trump's planned tariffs appears to have had little impact on the president, who insists this week that he will not back down. Don't say this much, but kudos for Mr. Trump. While the president left the door open for compromise with allies, tensions are rising in Europe. We've loaded the gun, says Charles de Lessignan, a spokesman for the European Steel Association, a lobbying group, and we're ready to use them in case of aggression. And here's the deal. I'm done with this. The point is, that's the problem. We've allowed the lobbyists to come up with rules. Most of the time, the lobbyists are writing the rules for Congress to bring to the table to vote on. Congress is not coming up with most of these rules. The lobbyists are giving them a template for what they want and expect Congress to vote on their laws, their rules, what they made up. And the Congress do that because they put a little something in their pocket, so they're manipulated or they're being influenced because of the dollar bill. They're influenced to go ahead and push those policies. In this case, Trump is saying no. We buy steel overseas, we buy this from overseas, we buy that from overseas. And a lot of time it's our own companies that have stuck it to the middle class, picked up their company and went to another place all for cheaper labor, but yet they want to still have us pay the same price or more. No, they're getting over big time. They're going to cheat the workforce, give them a crappy wage, yet they're going to produce great products, and then the company going to charge premium price for that product. Well, it's the same thing here. We have great workers in the United States that work hard, got a family, they live and breathe their work. As long as they got a union and good, decent pay, they're good. They don't ask for much. But the companies decide to go with cheap labor. And as a result of going with cheap labor, they want to try to charge us premium prices after they don't use cheap labor. That's not fair. That's not fair. Trump is saying, look, and I hope Trump do this. I hope Trump develop a Made American initiative to put people back to work, boosting up American economy, producing our own steel, producing our own aluminum, producing our own T-shirt, producing our own, and sell them to our own American citizens first, and yet sell them all abroad. Yeah, we can negotiate some deal, but you're not going to be allowed to take your plant and go to another country for cheaper labor and expect us to pay regular or premium price. No. If you do that, we're going to put a tax on it. And guess what? Most of your consumers are going to be Americans. And if you want their money, you need to work out a deal. Now, these are my views on the way I see this thing. Sure, it's going to hurt European Union. Sure, it's going to hurt the steel industry and things like that. But hey, well, let's negotiate then. Nobody wants to hurt somebody else's economy, but our economy has been struggling, and Europe and none of these other countries have been taking a look on why we're struggling. The reason people in the Rust Belt told Hillary Clinton to kiss their multicultural behind is because the Clintons decimated the Rust Belt. A lot of those factories were in those rural areas, and they end up changing the laws where they can go get cheaper labor, yet at the same time want to sell it in America for full or premium price. No. So, hey, whatever is whatever. Again, I don't want nobody economy to suffer. That's why I don't like us imposing sanctions on different countries, especially Russia, when there's still no evidence Russian affecting the U.S. elections. Hillary sucked. That's all. That's why she lost. So I'm for our companies. If you're going to go overseas and get cheaper labor, you got to give us a discount on those products. What I would rather have them do is come back to the United States. Trump give them some incentives to come back to the United States, and then we can start American-made initiative, Made in America initiative, putting the working force back to work on steel, aluminum, T-shirts, booze, whatever. I'm not a booze dude, but whatever. So I think I'm rambling, talking too much, but I have no problem with Trump doing the trade deals. I have no problem with that. I don't want him to hurt economy, any other person's economy. But to be truthfully speaking, our economy is hurting because of these trade laws. They are getting over like a fat cat and a fat rat. And it's time that we do some tough talk and say, hey, let's work out a trade deal. You bring your percentage down on the products that you coming in, or you're going to get hit with a tariff. Let's negotiate. You want to bring it down? Fine. But yet, we're still going to work on our own Make America initiative, whether you bring it down or not. We're going to start focusing on our steel companies first. We're going to start focusing on our aluminum company, our automobile companies and things like that. We're going to start focusing on all that. Excuse me, I'm looking at two cameras right here. So I don't usually give Trump props because usually he's a disaster in some of his decisions. But this one is a good one to me, personally, my personal opinion. It's a good one to me because maybe those companies will think twice, pulling their companies out of areas where people depend on those jobs and going overseas to get cheaper labor, and then want to try to sell us the product at regular price, premium price, or extra price. No. That's not fair. I'm Bob TV. I'm with the Rob Reporter. Talk to you soon. Peace. Hey, if you like the content and if you like this particular video, please like it, share it. Also, if you want to become a patron, you can click the link below and become a patron. I'm no Don Lemon, thank God. So again, like, share, subscribe to the channel. We're over 1,500. We're on the march to 5,000. Please click the subscribe button and hit the notification button so you can know exactly when I put a new video up. If you like the content, hit our Patreon account up. A few bucks to get a brother a cup of coffee, maybe a hot dog and a soda from 7-Eleven. Even though I don't need that.